Hi everyone, it's Killshot99 Gaming. This is The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 6 recap, Whisper intro, Dead discussion. We got some good stuff to talk about tonight. I know a lot of people have been really anxious to get this Whisper storyline arc going, and we're going to talk about that tonight, and a little bit of a recap, and also some things we think are going to go down, and also we are going to update the Grimes giveaway contest. A lot of good stuff going on with that already. Do want to start out by thanking each and every one of you guys for being here. Looks like we got some birthday action going on. We got some super chat action going on already. So we got Scott Kernan with a super chat earlier, said, thought that the sanctuary's gone, the Oceanside left with Maggie, and there could have been a attack on Alexandria in the last 6 years. So a good call with that possibility. And also I saw, is it Wilson's birthday? Happy birthday, Wilson. Good to have you part of the channel. Is Wilson present yet? Don't know. There's a lot of people kind of jumping in and out of chat. So Wilson, if you're here, just hopefully you're having a wonderful birthday. So if you guys have some birthday shout outs, just send them over to me. We will get those included. Also, I want to mention we are very close to hitting our second Patreon goal. We've got Casino Well and Albert Author, brand new Patreons, and also Zane Thomas has upped his Patreon game as well. So thank you to all the people who support this channel, and thank you to each and every one of you for being here on a Monday night as we talk Walking Dead. And everybody, my fantasy football team needs a little bit of love. I do have George Kittle and Saquon Barkley playing right now, so let's hope for some scoring second half so I can get this big W. So I need it. All right, everybody, let's get into last night's episode. I know we did the countdown, we did the recap, and you know, a lot of different storylines are happening. The Eugene storyline, he's just kind of lost in love and you know, can't express himself. There's been a couple times he tried it. Then you get this desperation scene where he's about to sort of open up, and the next thing you know, they are, you know, he's falling out of water towers. And that brings us to this, the picture we have up there. So we picked the picture for two different reasons. One, we are going to talk about the whispers in the background chasing them. But if you don't post it here, save your creativity. But we do have a Grimes giveaway. So Steph the Cuervo Queen has put together this neat packet of all this awesome stuff, Walking Dead gear, items. You know, it's listed on the Facebook page. So we put this picture up on our Facebook fan page. You can see it, the Walking Dead 999 Army. There's a link down below. And you have 24 hours to come up with the best caption of this photo. We're not taking it off the live streams. So yes, you will have to have a Facebook account. You will have to join our 999 Army Facebook page. You don't have to stay there. You just go over there and leave a caption. But that's the way we're going to know who does it. And we're going to pick the best 3 captions. And tomorrow we're going to do a poll. And we're going to let each of you pick on that site as well which one is going to be the winner. So that's the way it's going to go down, and we'll make that announcement on Thursday, so we'll know who is going to win the gear. And if you guys like that, we'll do more giveaways. We'll do some more stuff over the next couple of months as well. You know, when Walking Dead dies down, we get back to our random things and our giveaways and all of that stuff. Edwin Gonzalez, Kills, you think RJ is real or... You know, you just asked me a question that completely threw me for a loop. I'm a little confused. I have not seen that yet, so I don't know if there's a theory out there. I'm trying, when you ask me that question, now I'm trying to play it back in my head. Did anyone else see RJ? Well, Magna saw Michonne holding RJ, but was RJ real? I got to think, yeah, Magna saw him through the window. He's real. Yeah, I'm not going to go into Michonne being crazy. So wherever that came from, well, Scott, that explains a lot of stuff. You know what? I'm not reading it. I'll just say, Scott, another channel apparently posted it. Well, you caught me off guard, and then I'm like, wait a minute. Did other people? Yeah, but Magna looked in the window, and Michonne was holding RJ. Oh, boy. You know, I don't want to be on the other end of a silly theory that gets completely destroyed by the internet. So I'm not even going to go down this road. I'll let the other channel discuss it and put the theories out there. Lewis Grimes, thank you. Magnus saw him. He's real. You know, now I'm going to have to watch and see if Michonne turned her shoulder when Magna was looking through the window. I know Michonne was holding RJ, and then Magna was getting ready to, break in through the window. All right, yeah, I'm completely floored with that one. So Scott Kernan says, or does Magna understand Michonne's pain? Well, yeah, the two can relate. And I do think that's why they zoomed in on the scar. If Michonne did not have that scar, if Michonne was not tortured at some point, if there was just an attack, regardless, Michonne is dealing with her own pain. And I will say this as well, because I did see a neat theory with this. Let me get to Super Chat. Ricky Lutt says, what's up with the scar on Michonne? Perfect segue, Ricky. Thank you for that. And hopefully this will tie into the other stuff. I have not done the research on this, but one of you, and I don't remember who it is, so I apologize, did say that symbol, that scar, could be something that is, it could mean a lot of different things. And one, it is self-inflicted to pay tribute to someone else that may have been suffering. I mentioned last night I thought it could be self-inflicted and it could be like a tattoo. We'll hold tight. Maybe we'll get a little bit more story. And I know as soon as that was said, people were like, well, how do they know, Rick was punctured in that area? But I think they had a pretty good view of what was going on with Rick. So it was pretty clear Rick was injured. Wow. We've got, when there were theories floating around with what happened to Rick, now there's more theories on Michonne's scar and whether Michonne's losing her mind. Because the only way I could say someone got that idea was when Michonne was talking in the room and she apparently talks to Rick a lot. Derek Dixon, will we see Megahertz Attack Alexandria Season 9? Yeah, I think so. They built it up. I think it's going to fall again. The Hilltop might be the last place standing. Some really, really good interactive comments tonight. You guys keep them coming because I am jumping around. Mike Elovic says, do you think Tara could be leading Hilltop? Well, it's a she, and we feel like Maggie's gone, so I think it's probably more likely to be Enid. Remember, Enid's a little bit older. She did learn under Maggie, so she could probably be the next successor. We got Lee George. Lee George says, I'm not understanding RJ's age and the time jump. It doesn't gel. Rick is gone 6 years later. There's 2 to 3 year old. Am I missing something? Lee, RJ would have to be, I'm assuming he's 5. And I guess they haven't clarified that, but yeah, he's got to be 5. Scott Kernan, she also talks to the blown up bridge, still broke, yeah. I don't think she's, well, hang on, I'm gonna put some more fuel to that theory after I get to the super chat. Wilson, birthday boy, said, how did Michonne see Magna's hidden tattoo? She's got the X-ray vision. Yeah, just a little part of it, I think, in the location. And she went with a hunch. Michonne talking to Rick and Michonne talking to the bridge. Remember, and I don't know if you guys saw me way back when I played this Telltale Walking Dead Michonne game. Michonne sees her dead children. And she talked to them. And even in the comic, in the prison scenes, I do remember this, she was talking to her kids. So maybe they're, a little bit of a flashback, a little bit of what she went through. Zane Thomas, has Michonne gone off the deep end? Yeah, I mean, I would only give a slight amount of fuel to it. I don't want to give enough fuel to it to say that she's lost her mind. I think she really misses him. She was a lawyer. The more people talk about it, the more it seems like she could be losing her mind. And to be perfectly honest, I haven't watched the show from that perspective just to see if there's a Sixth Sense type of twist to it. But from what I remember, Magna did see RJ. However, when she opened the door, she did not have RJ. All right, you know what? This is too bizarre. I almost want to stop and go watch it and look for those clues now. Now I'm starting to really wonder. All right, let me get to Super Chat. I'm going to bet half the people in the stream are going to go back and watch some clips from it. Scott Kernan says, take it back. Kang confirms in EW interview that RJ is in fact a twist and is really alive. Okay, I've not seen that. So I guess we're getting information as we speak. I can't believe you guys got me. See, now you got me discussing a fake theory. Good job, everybody. Valar. Hello, Nine and an Army. Kill, Steph, Emmy, Kels, Sweet Tommy, sponsors, patrons, and of course, all the super chatters. Okay. If Angela Kang said it, then it is legit. There is a RJ. No, RJ is real. Real. It's confirmed. Stop. Stop it. Until the next person comes in 5 minutes later and says, hey, did you see the theory that, you know it won't stop. Casey, stop it. There is an RJ. He's real, but he's in her mind. Or he's really fake. All right, I'm watching the comments just kind of stream at this point. All right, I am going to transition the topic from this fake child to the Whisperers and the Whisperers story arc, and that we see them as a herd. I got a question for the hardcore comic fans, though. Would it have... Can you run as a Whisperer? I mean, I don't want you to think my comment is stupid. But you're already walking among them. You're whispering. You've got the skin of someone else. So can you move a little faster than them? Like, can you just like... Or do you have to walk really slow? Can you speed walk? No, I'm just wondering why the Whispers didn't just get ahead of the crowd here and just get to Eugene before he got away. I mean, because they're like, where are they? I mean, Rosita could outrun them, so it doesn't matter where they are. The only chance they had of catching them is the fact that Eugene was hurt. So all I'm saying is, maybe one of them should have just kind of galloped out in front of the group and taken down Eugene. Okay, I'm down for that. It is the fear, and it is the masses, and kind of moving along, gradually just destructing whatever's in their path. All right, I got another super chat up here. Scott said they walk slow, and they also do not bite. No, they stab, right? And Commodore, a.k.a. Captain Crawfish, with a super chat. Well, there's your first comment for the pick. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun with the captions. So if you guys have not checked that out, once this video is over, get over to the Facebook fan page and leave some comments. I've seen some really good stuff already. Keep it PG-ish rated, because we are going to announce it on the video as well. The Shaw brothers, the Whispers, well, they don't talk, they whisper. Kind of like another form of communicating. Talking, but low and dragged out. Derek Dixon, you think Whisperers might take over Jadis' junkyard? I can't speculate where they're going to be holed up or where their camp is going to be. I honestly don't know enough about their arc in the comics. I know a little bit that I've researched. I know some things that are going to go down, some people that are going to die, the basic stuff, how Carl followed Lydia back, that type of thing. Scott Kernan, looks as if Whispers are hunting Michonne's group. How did the Whispers stumble upon the group? I guess that would be the question I would ask. Father G, maybe? You think the radio is like a giveaway? I mean, that would get Eugene some points. If you think about it, if Rosita's torn between Father G and Eugene, and Father G got him like busted with the radio, that might be grounds for dismissal. Maybe Eugene will be the lucky one after all. Scott Kernan, yeah, they're out hunting. For sure. Time to take over a brand new community. Well, if you guys remember, there was a lot of anxious, I guess nervous anxiety, or, people just want to see the Whisper arc played out. And I did give a warning. I said, be careful, because sometimes in The Walking Dead, you have to enjoy these peaceful moments. Not that we want it long and drawn out and sappy, but right after the thing happened with Rick, people are just chomping at the bit, like, let's get to the Whispers. And when they start killing off characters, it's not going to be all fun and games. Because then they're going to kill off a major character, and then you're going to have the people, crying that Walking Dead kills off all the best characters. You know how it goes. So it's like we need the horror, we need the drama, but then when it happens, it's like we don't want quite so much of it. Guys, Zane Thomas with a super chat says, do you think the Whispers and what is you know what? Her name slipped my mind as well too. The deaf girl will collide at some point, and if so, do you think how do you think it'll play out? Like, are they destined to meet? Connie. Once again, how it plays out in the comics, I'm going to defer. Because if you're going to, if you put me on the spot and ask, which of Magna's group is going to survive, which may potentially be heads on pikes, I don't know. And then, even if I did, I don't know if it's going to play out the same way. Which will probably happen during the month of December. I promise I will get up to speed with comics. I'm probably going to put about 40 issues of comics under my belt between now and the end of the year. So by the time we get to the second half, I'm going to have all the Whisperer story arc. Because I'm on 107. So I'm not too far out. Connie's 3 to 4 episodes. Well, Richard and Shiva were not in too many episodes either. And I think they had a pretty big impact on the television show. So how many people thought the preview for next week was just a little bit weak? Campfire, Daryl's dog. I was not super excited about that. I would rather have seen a little bit more action. It's like, you got to bring more than that. You've got the Whisper arc right around the corner, and you show me Daryl with a dog. Yeah. I could have just figured that out on my own. No doubt. See, that's why it was so weak that Scott Kernan says they confirmed that on the actress casting that she won't be there very much longer. The teaser was so weak next week that we got people doing conspiracy theories on whether RJ's alive. That's how little material that we have. Is hey, you know what? Daryl's got a dog. Maybe Father G and Rosita don't really exist. They're ghosts. We'll just kind of throw it out there. Well, yeah, I guess they could be lowering expectations. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I think I got something. The dog. I ask what purpose the dog would have. Maybe the dog finds Lydia. How about that? You know, he starts barking at something or growling at something, and then there you go. There she is. So instead of them just getting on the little stagecoach and riding their way up to Hilltop, yeah, they better not kill the dog. There's enough bad characters left that they could start killing them instead of the dog. Well, I mean, you know, part of it, I get it. Daryl's out there, he's lonely. They want to show that he's had a companion and he's just, you know, mountain man with a pet, somebody to care about. So that's part of the story, but I do think the dog's got to be relevant as well. I think the dog has to do something, either find something or not die. And I think we've seen enough of the pets dying for their owners. Like, we've seen the heroic pets. All right, I got Scott with another super chat says, the dog is also fan service and Regis wanted one. So, yeah, he's asked for that for a while. But people do. You know, people like their pets. We just don't want to see them die on a TV show. So I'm cool as long as, you know, we don't have to sacrifice him. Charles Thompson with a super chat says, I really hope this brings the heart to The Walking Dead and brings back the gore. Well, you know what? Let's make that our super chat spotlight. And this, you can answer if you don't know anything about the Whispers. But this is probably more geared toward the comic fans. Horror and gore. From a scale of 1 to 10, give me your Whisperer gore rating. Based on what you know from the comics. Not from what you think will happen on the television show. So this should answer your super chat. You know how I ask people to rate an episode, like from a 1 to a 10, and there's people always on the fence, and they say 6, 7.5. So look at the ratings. I mean, these are like 10, 10 plus. This is going to be nuts. It's going to be a little bit different. So I'm feeling. I'm right here with you. Scott, super chats at 8.8 out of 10. Well, gore and devastating loss are two things that can move the audience. And both happened with Glenn. I still think Glenn is the most difficult scene to watch in The Walking Dead. So if they do anything even close to that with Jesus or with another character that we've gotten attached to, an Ezekiel, I'm a little scared that Carol is getting super protective of Henry. So, question for the group. Does Carol's obvious bond with Henry, Carol and Henry got more airtime than Michonne and Judy. Now, I'm not saying that Carol loves Henry more than Michonne loves Judy. What I'm saying is there was an emphasis, there was a focal point on Carol really spending time with Henry. Could that possibly lead you to believe that Ezekiel is on the chopping block? Leave your thoughts and comments. mom, very protective. The son that her and Ezekiel have raised for the last 6 years. And, stealing the ring, all this foreshadowing. It's got to scare you a little bit with Ezekiel, right? The king's in trouble. Sets up a revenge for Henry. Well, I feel like Henry's old enough now that they're going to just give him bits and pieces of that Carl arc. Give him a little bit of it. Give Judith a little bit of it. And, we know the fate, right? Charles Thompson says, do you think the scene where Jesus is fighting the Whispers is where Jesus dies? If so, that's a hell of a way to go out. I do. When I saw that, I thought that Jesus will be surrounded by multiple Whispers, and I just think he's going to confront Beta, and it's going to be like one of those, just one of those scenes like from Street Fighter or something like that, where you've got this dude spinning around doing all these martial arts, and then you got this big dude kind of cracks his knuckles and puts on his gloves and walks up, and then Jesus, takes down a few of them, and then Jesus walks up and just, bam, gives him like this death punch, and it just does nothing but bounce off. And at that moment, wait a minute. That's the strongest hand-to-hand fighter we've got, and now he's just going to be, and then I just feel like he's going to, you guys aren't ready for this. I've got it like a visual of it, but I don't know that I can kind of walk through it. I just feel like Jesus is going to suffer, and maybe they're going to break his leg, and then when they break his leg, it's just going to be kind of looking down at him and just like Game of Thrones. It's going to be I think it's going to be like a Game of Thrones scene. Exactly. I think he's going to be like the Mountain, but, when decapitations happen in Game of Thrones is a big deal, and I feel like it's going to be very, just Ned and that whole courtyard scene. That was shocking. And I think Walking Dead needs that moment again. Got a super chat. Commodore Crawfish says, Noah getting eaten in front of us was up there. It was. But, nobody had the attachment to Noah that they had to Glenn. So I think the importance of the character with the brutality of it was very tough. Do you guys agree that, and I know, look, HBO is a different beast. So HBO compared to AMC. But do you feel like the Whispers will give The Walking Dead a Game of Thrones moment? Where there's hatred, there's resentment, there's violence, and there's loss. And people feel it. Because I think there's some pent-up emotion that people wanted to feel the loss from Rick. So this is kind of my follow-up question for everybody. Will a violent, vicious death help relieve some of that pent-up loss that people have not been able to grieve for Rick Grimes? I'm talking about you. I'm not talking about the characters. I'm talking about... I think there's a certain contingency of people that needed Rick to die because they needed to kind of get it out of their system. And because he's alive, there's still like that anxiousness. That you don't feel like, okay, we didn't really lose anything. And then if it's Jesus that gets brutally decapitated, or if it's Ezekiel, or it's, it won't be Daryl. But if it was Daryl, that would be mind-blowing. Somebody that you don't expect, or somebody that you have an attachment to. Okay, interesting feedback. Just something. Moderators, can you make sure the person just got blocked, never shows up on our channel again? Thank you. And you know what? Now is a time for a brief commercial brought to you by me. All the members of the 999 Army, if you guys could do me a big favor and hit the like button. I'm just going to make a special request. If you like the fact that our moderators keep trolls out of here and idiots and morons and people that come in and just make comments to draw attention to themselves that are the most lewd, sometimes sexist, sometimes racist comments. If you guys like the environment that the moderators have created here, do me a favor, hit the like button. If you are some childish little punk kid that has nothing better to do than jump in videos, then please, by all means, hit the dislike button. Because I just want to see the ratio between people that actually have sense, intelligence, and want to communicate on a different level compared to people that are just absolute asses. So just want to see what the ratio is. Right now it's 125 to 5. I think that's a pretty good ratio. Maybe we can get it up to 400 to 10. But I need to have a little bit more faith and a little bit more confidence in society. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That is your brief commercial interruption brought to you by the 999 Army and the moderators. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. We try to keep it as troll-free as possible, just so we can come in and enjoy the show and have a good time. All right, so we have sort of gotten through the RJ ghost theory, a little bit of the Michonne. I don't think she's crazy. I think she's so lonely. She relied on Rick emotionally so much that it would be a nice story. It would be fitting one day for there to be a reunion if it's in a movie, and who knows how long apart it's going to be. And why did they wait 6 years? What's going on with Rick? So until we get to spoilers, I'm going to go with this. We're going to get a bigger glimpse of the Whispers this week. I think we're going to get official Lydia introduction this week. They make it back to the Hilltop, but what I want to talk about as well is the fair. Before I get to that, Z-Mist, I think that's a fine theory. And when you typed it earlier, I didn't know if you were trying to put a spoiler up there, but just identify it as such in the future. So Z-Mist says, my theory is Rosita left Eugene and he gets captured by Whispers. Rosita goes back and tells everyone walkers are talking. Thinks she's crazy. I think that's very much in line with what's going to go down. So I think that's very solid. Ricky Lutz, sweet sassy Molassy, 999. I love that. We're doing it today. So let's talk about this fair a little bit. So it appears we're going to have this event that's going to bring all the communities together. Are the Whisperers going to be the party crashers? Ezekiel's really looking forward to it. Are we going to see some heads on pikes during this fair? Gamma is like pulling for Alpha to show up. That's some hardcore Whisper. Let me just say, Alpha is going to be one creepy chick. Ruthless, relentless. I don't know that I'm ready for it. She is probably going to to make Negan look like a lightweight. And I think they're going to take the comics, and it's going to be like the comics on steroids. I think they are going to really, really paint her absolute evil. One, they picked the perfect person to play the role. And number two, just the pictures that I've seen, it looks like it's just going to be brutal evil. And you know what number three is? Because I don't even think they will make the sexual innuendos and from the comic, I think they will overcompensate with violence. Because I don't think that they want to tell that story on television about Lydia and we know. I mean, that part I know about the comics, and many of you know as well about the abuse. But I think they're going to make them, instead of doing that, I think they're going to make them 3 times more evil and more killing and more ruthless. Just a theory. You know what, Steph, I agree with that. I think she seems soulless. Yeah, there's parts of the comics, and look, I'm going to skate around it as well because I've done some comic readings in the past, and I try to post some of the readings and just for educational. But there's some scenes. For me, the worst scene, and they didn't do this, and here's a difference that I've noticed between the TV show and the comics. The governor and the Michonne scene in the comics was absolute by far the worst of any abuse I've ever seen in a movie or in a comic. I think anywhere. It was beyond understandable. And the TV show was nowhere near that, not even in the same ballpark. And when I read the comics, I literally skipped about 4 pages of the comics. And I will say, reading that in the comics, to me, was worse than watching the Glenn death on the TV show. So, those of you that have not read it, I don't mention the Glenn scene lightly because if the Glenn scene to me was the most violent on the TV show, I would say the Michonne governor scene was worse than anything I've ever seen. Unbelievable. Got a super chat. We got Derek Dixon. You think Alpha would be like the Predator movies? I think Alpha is going to be ruthless. Negan was not ruthless. Negan was direct. Negan was unfair, in my opinion. Negan was violent. But I didn't see Negan as ruthless. I see Alpha as they need a villain unlike anything they've ever had. And I've been saying this for well over a year. Even before when the mention just started happening. That I don't think there will be any sympathy whatsoever. And I know people that were Negan fans would say, well, what about Negan's backstory? What about his wife having cancer? What about all the things he went through? And there was always, there were Negan haters, but there's always a small little group that supported him. And I think with Alpha, I don't think you're going to have that group. I think you're going to like the story, and I think people that love horror movies are going to, they're going to appreciate that. Because it is a story that needs to be told. But I say, if I were writing it, I would make it like nothing they've ever done. And we have seen people come forth. Scott Gimple, Greg Nicotero, even Angela Kang talk about how spooky it is to work in that story role. So if they're around it, and I don't think it's just lip service, I think they've done a great job with it. And you tie that into the effects this season and the writing, and I think we are in store for something epic, but also a lot of heartbreak. Charles Thompson, do you think she shaves her head? Yes, I do. And it's Samantha Morton, right? And the hairstyles, she has no offense, I mean, she's got a fairly big forehead. So she already looks the part. And I'm not saying in a bad way, so don't, kills is bashing somebody. She's an attractive lady. I'm just saying she's got a little bigger forehead. Which is going to make it easier to sort of get her a little bit more alpha-like. Now, see, I just make a general comment like that, I'm going to get in trouble. All right, we better move on. Yeah, let's put it this way. Perfect casting. That's the way I should have said it. I think she was extremely perfect for the role. There you go. Angie, to hold that savage brain. I do think the Lydia storyline is going to be short-lived. So, comic fans, this is more of a hypothetical. Maybe you guys can help out the viewers and help me out with this. In the comics, do you think the Whispers would have just hunted out Rick's group and killed them? Or do you think that the Lydia storyline, the kidnapping, and Rick's group expanding into their territory, do you think that the Whispers would have ended up killing him? I guess what I'm saying is, did they have a little bit of an excuse in the comics? Or do you think that they would have just kind of found him and killed him anyway? Because I'm wondering if they're going to get that small amount of excuse in the TV show, or they're just going to have already killed. And that's important for me. That's important for me as a viewer. If there's already some missing people, and there's already some heads on some pikes, and then they're negotiating for Lydia after the fact, well, they've already killed. I think it just kind of shows the degree of savagery that they're negotiating because they have to, not because they were pushed. So Angie says, I think they look for reasons. So the end justifies the means. It's in their DNA, and they go with it. Yeah, Andrew, I'm fully on board with that. I know they're ruthless in the comics. I just feel like they're going to be more ruthless on the TV show for several reasons. One, they need a clear-cut villain at this point. And because because of the visuals, we get more attached to the TV characters. Christopher Sage says, if the Whisper arc is done right, it's a possibility the best season of The Walking Dead ever. Super chat spotlight. You know what, Christopher? I'll do that as a super chat spotlight. One, I'm personally going to say this is the best season for me of The Walking Dead ever. For a lot of different reasons. But I'm going to ask everybody here that question. If the Whisper arc is creepy, scary, diabolical, some loss, coupled with what we've already seen with Angela Kang, do you feel like this is the best season of The Walking Dead? We got several people already saying yes. However, they're really going to have to up their game in episode 7 and show me a little bit more than Daryl with the dog. I'm hoping they're lulling me to sleep so they can just, bam, blow me away with something. Eating some pork and beans out by the campfire, and then the dog goes crazy. You think the guard has been let down. It's like, whoa, who's that little girl? And then we're like, yeah, there it is. There's Lydia. So I'm hoping it's, not a bunch of grunting by Daryl by the campfire. Talking about how the dog ate. Did you eat anything? Dog ate. I mean, come on. I thought we were going to get some more out of Daryl. Time to ramp it up. Daryl needs to bring his A game. So a lot of people are saying this is the best season. I didn't think season 1 was the best season. And in fact, halfway through it, I wasn't sure how I felt about it, and I got more and more attached to it. And I don't know whether it was 3 or 4, but somewhere along the way is when, each season after that, I'm like, yeah, 3 was the best. And then 4 is like, yeah. And I was, kind of along for the ride because I was a fan. And then I'll tell you, last season was okay. It wasn't bad. It was okay. I thought 7 was good, but the story was way too drawn out. And this one I love. It's had everything. It's got good character development. The hope of Rick is still there. They're giving characters second chances. And then this Whisper thing. I mean, keep in mind, everybody, why do you go see a horror movie? Because you want to be freaked out by it. You don't go to a horror movie to see people building up communities and having babies together. You go to a horror movie because you want to be frightened. And if The Walking Dead can accomplish that, there's just not a lot of shows that can give you that fright, that drama, that occasional humor, and that's why it's so unique. And I think that's why it's got such a unique fan base. And I love to hear that. I love to see people saying that this is my favorite season ever, because it just shows they're doing a good job, and we're going to be here talking about it for a while. Good stuff. Good follow-up by everybody. Gamma is already... Gamma's going to be a very popular 999 Army member whenever the Whisper arc is in full effect. Especially the night Jesus goes down. I would duck Gamma. I would type lightly. I think on that night it'll be more along the lines of, if you have a response just like, I see your point. It'll be a lot of like agreeable disagreements type of thing. Andrew, you know what? Maybe at the end of this, I'll give you a Whisper tribute. I love it. Come at me, bro. I got you. Super chat. Saying raised on earth. Both Rosita, King, Ezekiel are happy. This the end for them. Well, what's funny and ironic at the same time is that how do I want to articulate this? Walking Dead fans always use the comics when it's convenient. And this is what I mean by that. If they're fans of Rosita or fans of Ezekiel, and I say like, well, do you think the Whisperers are going to kill them? And they're going to say, no, they can't kill Ezekiel. Ezekiel's too important. Rosita's such a badass, they can't kill her. But they did in the comics, right? But then when it's another story arc, a lot of times they're quick to point out like, no, it's not going to go down like that because in the comics it does this. I can tell you it happens a lot, and I've done a lot of broadcast where it's happened. So, and I think that's why they really wanted to use the comics as a base and not as a roadmap, maybe not a treasure map. Oh, that was a good analogy. I just made that up. But it actually covers what I want to cover. It kind of gets you there, but it's not the exact spot. Because they do have to tell the overall stories. But there's some similarities. Rick's gone, obviously. Carl's gone. There's going to be different characters. So when people kind of throw back and say, well, yeah, but this is what happens with the Whisper arc, then I could always go back and say, yeah, but Rick was around for that. Carl was around for that, but they're not around. So I can only hope that Rosita survives it. And Casino, well, there you go. Nope, not my Rosita. But I do feel, I don't know. I'm going to agree with you. I could absolutely see Rosita and Ezekiel dying, just like in the comics. It's almost like a fake out. Okay, this is what I mean by that. Maybe you're absolutely right. We know the comics, they kill Ezekiel and Rosita. But we're probably going to say what? Oh, they're not going to do it like the comics. They're not going to kill Rosita and Ezekiel because it's too obvious. But then they kill Rosita and Ezekiel because we weren't expecting it because it was too obvious. Boom. That's the way they're going to do it. I'm going to say, I agree with you. I think Rosita is in a difficult love triangle. It's time to kill her. Ezekiel is the story arc for Henry to get revenge. I mean, Rosita at this point, it's like that torn between two lovers, feeling like a fool, so boom, she's got to go. The only way Father G and Eugene are both going to be happy is if neither one. Right? The doggone girl is mine. So, yeah. Can't have that love triangle. Rosita's got to go, and Ezekiel's got to go. Yep, I'm going to agree. I'm going to agree with that super chat. She is a little bit... Donnie, hold on now. I saw the signs. And it opened up my eyes. I saw the sign. When Rosita and Eugene were there, she wanted to hear him say it. Eugene was kind of babbling and mumbling, and he's like talking about generalities, and she's like, is there something specific? And he didn't say it. Don't count him out. However, I will say the kiss with Father G was it was like 10 seconds. So I don't know. But yeah, as much as I like Rosita, I think it's happening pretty soon. Well, yeah, Janet, but she said that when they were running. That was like, she said that to make him think that it wasn't their last moments on this earth. You know, he's ready to say, there's something I got to tell you. And I think she's basically like, look, we're not going to die here. But she had to do it like in typical Rosita fashion. And you know what, everybody? On that note, I love that super chat. So, yeah, maybe we could get the obvious this time around. It's going to play out the way everybody thinks it won't play out. And we're 61 minutes, so I am going to wind this stream down. Had a lot of fun with you guys tonight. Appreciate everybody being here. I'm going to make one last final request and say if you guys could do me a favor and just slap that like button, that would be awesome. Show some love and support to the Army. You guys do an amazing job. So there's no place I'd rather be here than talking The Walking Dead. Not only what my predictions and what my theories, and I approach the TV show from a psychological standpoint. But I love the fact that you guys are hardcore readers of the graphic novel, and you know the history and the lore, and anytime I have a question, it's like immediately somebody here knows the answer. So some of the most knowledgeable fans ever. Thank you so much for being here. Do want to just one more shout out to the Patreons up in the top left-hand corner. As I said, we got Casino Well, Albert Arthur, and also Zane Thomas upping their game. Thank you so much. We're so close to hitting our very next goal. And patrons, you're interested in supporting the channel, third-party website, there's a link down below. And in the top right corner, we got sponsors, limited number of sponsors. So you see Jason, you see Michelle M., also Walking Dead Nerd, several other people, Julie McGuire. The sponsorship is temporarily on hold with non-gaming YouTube channels. So they're sort of locked in. So right now, you can't be a sponsor on the channel. You can maintain your sponsorship, but if you do want to jump into that game, then there's a Patreon link down below. Also, do want to give a shout out to my moderators, Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells. An amazing job as always. And let me holler at all the super chatters, because there were a lot of super chats going on tonight, and I just want to give them a little extra love as well. Scott Kernan with just a whole boatload of super chats. Thank you so much for your insight, your comments, Scott. Appreciate that. Lewis Grimes, Ricky Lutz, Derek Dixon, Mike Elevick, Lee George, Wilson, and once again, happy birthday to Wilson, Zane Thomas, Valar, Commodore, a.k.a. Captain Crawfish, and Zane Thomas, Derek Dixon, multiple super chats, Charles Thompson with multiple, who else we got? Christopher Sage, and also Saiyan Raced on Earth. So appreciate everything that you guys do. And now, for the Army, we haven't done a lot of shout-outs lately because we've been jumping from video to video and reactions. So I'm going to ask as many people still here. If you're watching a playback, this is the closing credits. This is just where I show a lot of love for the people that built this channel and are here and just participate every single night. Once this video goes live, you guys can leave some comments to some of the people watching the playback. And Tommy wants to know what's up with his YouTube name. We're going to get to the Tommy mullet versus man bun contest once we finish the Grimes giveaway. So as we stated a little bit earlier, you'll get a chance to participate in both of those. But get over to our Facebook page and make sure you give a caption to this picture that's up on the screen for a chance to win the Grimes grab bag. And let me give some shout-outs. Samantha Coombs, Chris Riddle, Fear Rude, Billy Ray, Julia Muse, Jim 09, Shane Yutzy, Saying Raised on Earth, Michael Curie, BK Harp, Casey F., Sheila Mack, Anna Smith, Graylin 28, David Troya, Gamma. What's up, Gamma? Supporting, repping the Whispers. Lisa, Donnie Thompson, Maurice Gamble, Frankie Taylor, Brian Moore, Sarah Drumheller. Somebody tell me that Saquon Barkley scored a touchdown. I really need that fantasy football win. Robin Vance, Jessica Parcell, Rhonda DeLuca, Valar, thank you. Have a good night as well. Eric Beach, Ron Burgundy, Crystal the Singer Chick, Billy Ray, Northside Queen, Casey LeBoom, Kimberly G, and the other Kimberly G, DJ Humpalot. Yeah, I'm enjoying reading that one. Thank you for being here. DDA Ohio, 1189 Paris. Lisa Khaleesi, Gina Crockett, thank you. Jimmy Brooks, Lewis Grimes, Kevin Stover, thank you. Matt G, have a good night. Dan Lawrence, Mary Hugh, Brandon Burns. Also, those of you that are new, hit that subscribe button. Hang out with us every night. We'll be here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9:30 every night. And we do some special streams sometimes Friday when we're available, but we also do Saturday mornings at 11 and then, or I'm sorry, at 12. And then Sunday we do 11, 8, and 10:15. So a lot of streams, a lot of Walking Dead conversation. So you'll get some news, you'll get some predictions, and also, of course, we will talk about the spoilers later on in the week and compare them to our predictions. So looking forward to everybody and your participation in your chat the rest of this week. Thanks for everything that you guys do, and I'll talk to you all at 9:30 tomorrow night. Peace.